Most Australians have handled these 50-cent coins hundreds of times, but almost no one realizes some of them can be worth thousands of dollars. In this video, we're taking a closer look at Australian 50-cent coins with the coat of arms design that look completely normal, yet certain details, condition, and rare features can turn them into high-value collectibles. If you've got loose change at home, you'll want to watch this carefully, because you might already be holding one without even knowing it. First up, it's 1969, Australia is still buzzing from the massive switch to decimal currency just a few years earlier. The Royal Australian Mint in Canberra is working flat out, machines humming day and night, striking over 14 million of these 12-sided beauties. The obverse shows Queen Elizabeth II in her elegant diademed portrait by Arnold Machen, looking regal as ever with Elizabeth II Australia 1969 perfectly lettered around the rim. But flip it over, and there it is. The proud coat of arms of Australia, that magnificent design featuring the kangaroo and emu standing tall as supporters, the central shield divided into sections representing each state, the Star of Federation above, and all that rich national symbolism that makes every Aussie heart swell with pride. This wasn't just another coin, this was the first full year of the new decagonal 50-cent piece in circulation, larger, heavier, and more substantial than anything people had in their pockets before. It circulated from the busy harbors of Sydney to the dusty roads of the outback, from Melbourne's factories to Brisbane's markets, becoming part of everyday life during a time when Australia was growing fast, hosting events, and stepping confidently onto the world stage. But here's where the real magic happens. Not every single one of those 14 million coins came out perfect. The minting process back then was intense, with high-speed presses and planchets being fed through at incredible rates, and that's exactly when those glorious errors started slipping through. Picture a dramatic clipped planchet error where a big curved chunk is missing from the edge, like the coin took a bite out of destiny itself, or a wild off-center strike where the entire coat of arms design is shifted dramatically to one side, sometimes 20%, 30%, or even more, making the kangaroo and emu look like they're sprinting off the coin. Die cracks that race across the shield like lightning bolts across the outback sky, struck through errors where foreign material left a blank spot in the legend, double strikes where the design overlaps in ghostly layers, brockages, rotated dies, and even rare double obverse specimens that numismatists still talk about in hushed tones at coin clubs. These aren't just defects, they're unique fingerprints of history. One-of-a-kind pieces born from a split-second malfunction in the heart of the Royal Australian Mint. Think about the stories behind them. Some bloke in Perth pulls an old toolbox from his dad's shed, a shed that's been sitting there since the early 70s, and starts sorting through handfuls of change. Suddenly, his fingers stop on this 1969 50-cent that feels a bit light, a bit off. Under the lamp, he sees a massive clipped planchet and off-center strike combined, the kind of dramatic error that makes seasoned collectors weak at the knees. He takes it to a local dealer, then to grading, and before he knows it, private buyers from all over Australia and even international collectors are ringing his phone off the hook. These coins have that incredible eye appeal. The way the remaining mint luster catches the light on the raised edges of the error, the sharp details that survived decades of circulation. The sheer size of that 12-sided wonder making every flaw more pronounced and beautiful. High-grade, uncirculated examples with major errors are the absolute holy grail. An MS-64 or MS-65 with a spectacular off-center or clipped planchet can turn heads at any coin fair from Hobart to Darwin. The collector community is absolutely electric right now. Facebook groups dedicated to Australian error coins are flooded daily with magnification photos, people sharing their latest car boot sale hauls, op shop finds, and inherited collection discoveries. YouTube channels are pumping out videos of people going through old jars and rolls, and every time a 1969 error pops up, the comments explode. Private sales are happening quietly, but frequently, because serious hunters know these early decimal errors are getting harder to find in top condition. Many have been pulled from circulation over the years, slabbed by PCGs or NGC, and locked away in collections, driving the scarcity even higher. International buyers logging in from the US, UK, Europe, and Asia love them because Australian decimal errors have a character all their own. That unique 12-sided shape, the national symbolism, and the raw drama of the minting mistakes from the very beginning of the series. This coin carries the soul of late 1960s Australia, a nation transitioning, modernizing, full of optimism. Holding one of these error varieties in your hand feels different. The weight, the texture of those clipped edges, the way the design tells its story of survival through millions of transactions. It's not just metal, it's a tangible piece of our decimal history. A reminder of the hardworking mint employees who were pushing the limits to meet demand. Error coin hunters across the country are obsessed, spending weekends at markets, sorting through bankrolls, and checking every handful of change with a magnifying glass because they know the next big find could be right there. The thrill of the hunt is addictive, that racing heart when something looks off, the magnification revealing a perfect die crack or massive clip. The realization that you've just uncovered something far more valuable than anyone else would notice. The market energy around these 1969 coat of arms errors is building steadily. New collectors are entering the hobby, drawn in by the stories and the potential rewards. Specialist dealers and private networks are seeing strong demand for the best examples, with eye appeal and error severity being the biggest drivers. Whether it's a subtle legend struck through or a jaw-dropping 40% off-center monster, each one has its own personality and its own legion of admirers. This is the coin that turns ordinary weekends into treasure hunts and casual collectors into passionate specialists. Keep your eyes peeled everywhere: old wallets, grandma's biscuit tins, mixed lots at auctions, even those forgotten jars in the garage. One of these 1969 beauties could be hiding in plain sight, waiting for the sharp-eyed hunter who knows exactly what to look for. A stunning high-grade major error variety, think dramatic clipped planchet, large off-center strike, or spectacular die crack combination of this 1969 Australian 50-cent coat of arms coin can easily command up to $6,800 USD or even higher in today's booming private auctions, heritage sales, specialist dealer networks, and elite collector circles when the eye appeal and condition are spot on. But hold on tight, because the 1976 Australian 50-cent coin is the most valuable one yet. You won't believe the wild errors waiting in that one. Next up, hey mate, get ready for an absolute roller coaster, because the 1976 Australian 50-cent coin with the coat of arms design is one of the most thrilling error coins to ever come out of the Royal Australian Mint, and its story is packed with surprises that still have collectors buzzing coast to coast. Close your eyes and travel back to 1976. Australia was alive with energy. The nation was celebrating its sporting heroes, the economy was pushing forward, and the Mint in Canberra was hammering out over 27 million of these impressive 12-sided 50-cent pieces. On the front, you've got that classic portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. Elegant and timeless, surrounded by Elizabeth II Australia 1976. Turn it around, and the reverse explodes with national pride. The full coat of arms, the powerful kangaroo and emu standing guard like loyal protectors, the detailed shield representing every state, the Federation star shining above it all. This was proper pocket money during the height of the 70s, the kind of coin you'd get in your change after buying fish and chips in Bondi, paying for a beer in a pub in Adelaide, or grabbing supplies in a remote Queensland town. It traveled everywhere, from the snowy peaks of the Snowy Mountains to the sun-drenched beaches of the Gold Coast, quietly becoming part of millions of Australian lives. But not all of them were created equal. The high-speed minting presses of 1976 were working overtime, and that's exactly when the magic mistakes happened. We're talking about the ultra-rare examples struck on the wrong 20-cent planchet, these undersized rebels where the full coat of arms design spills dramatically over the edges, creating a hybrid coin that looks completely out of this world. Then you've got the jaw-dropping split planchets that cracked open during the strike like the coin literally split its personality in two. Massive off-center strikes that shove the entire emblem to one side, sometimes so extreme the kangaroo looks like it's leaping right off the metal. Multiple die cracks snaking across the shield and legends. Laminations that peel like layers of history. Double strikes with overlapping ghostly images, and even rare cases where the coin was struck through debris, leaving blank, mysterious patches in the design. These aren't tiny flaws you need a microscope to see. These are bold, in-your-face errors that scream rarity the second you lay eyes on them. The real-life treasure tales are what make this coin so addictive. One collector from rural New South Wales was going through his grandfather's old fishing tackle box from the late 70s when he pulled out a 1976 50-cent that felt strangely light and small. Under proper light, he realized it was struck on a 20-cent planchet with a beautiful off-center strike to boot. Heart racing, he sent it for grading, and within days, serious private buyers were making offers that left him speechless. Another story from Victoria, a mum cleaning out her late father's garage found a small jar of old coins. One 1976 piece had a dramatic split planch and die crack combo. It ended up funding a family holiday to the barrier reef after a quiet private sale. These moments happen more often than you think, because thousands of these coins are still out there in drawers, jars, suitcases, and forgotten collections waiting for the right person to spot them. What makes these 1976 errors so visually stunning is the way the mistakes interact with that big, bold coat of arms design. The 12 sides amplify every error. A clipped edge looks sharper, an off-center strike creates incredible asymmetry, and the remaining mint luster on high-grade pieces still shines with that original 70s brilliance even after nearly 50 years. Top condition examples in MS64, MS65 or better with major errors have an eye appeal that stops collectors dead in their tracks at shows. The community is thriving. Error coin Facebook groups, Discord chats, and YouTube channels are full of people posting close-up shots, comparing die markers, and sharing their latest market finds. Private sales are moving fast because word has spread that these particular 1976 varieties are far scarcer in premium condition than most people realize. International collectors from America, Europe, and Asia are actively hunting them too, drawn to the unique Australian decimal flavor and the wild minting stories from that era. This coin perfectly captures the spirit of 1976 Australia, confident, vibrant, and full of unexpected twists, just like the eras it produced. Every time you hold one, you can almost feel the vibration of those old mint presses, hear the clatter of planchets, and sense the excitement of a young country making its mark. It's more than just a collectible. It's a direct connection to our decimal past. A reminder that even in mass production, beautiful imperfections can create something truly special and valuable. Weekend warriors are out there right now at car boot sales, op shops, estate auctions, and bankroll searches, armed with magnifying glasses and hope. Because they know one special 1976 coat of arms error could be the find that changes everything. The hunt is real, the passion is growing stronger every month, and the rewards for those who know what to look for are seriously life-changing. A spectacular high-grade major error or wrong planchet example of this 1976 Australian 50-cent coat of arms coin can easily reach up to $9,200 or more in today's strong private auctions, specialist networks, and elite collector transactions when condition and eye appeal are exceptional. But wait. The 1978 Australian 50-cent coin is the most valuable one yet, and its secrets are even wilder. Next up, hey mate, settle in because the 1978 Australian 50-cent coin with that classic coat of arms reverse is about to take you on one of the most captivating journeys in the entire decimal error coin world. A story filled with hidden details, minting drama, and real-life discoveries that still get collectors fired up across every state. Transport yourself back to 1978. Australia was in full swing, the country was hosting international visitors, the economy was evolving, and the Royal Australian Mint was striking more than 25 million of these solid 12-sided 50-cent pieces to keep up with everyday demand. The obverse carries that familiar dignified portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, complete with the date and country name ringing around her. But flip it over, and you're greeted by the full glory of Australia's coat of arms. The strong kangaroo and emu standing proudly as supporters. The intricate shield displaying the symbols of all 6 states and territories. The Federation star crowning the top, everything radiating that unmistakable sense of national identity. This coin was genuine everyday currency. The one you might have received in change after a day at the footy in Melbourne, buying groceries in Perth, or grabbing a pie at a country bakery in rural New South Wales. It rattled around in pockets, tills, and dashboards from the tropical north right down to the chilly Tasmanian south, becoming woven into the fabric of late 70s Australian life. What makes 1978 specimens so special for serious hunters is the variety of minting rebellions that occurred when the presses were running at full throttle. The standout hero is the famous double bar variety, those two distinct parallel raised lines sitting right behind the emu's head on the reverse, looking almost like they were deliberately added but actually born from a die flaw that creates an instant collector's pulse racer. Then layer on the big dramatic errors, off-center strikes that push the entire coat of arms design way off to one side. Sometimes 25%, 35%, or even wilder percentages where parts of the design hang off the edge. Split planchets that opened up like a book during the strike, long die cracks racing across the shield like rivers on a map of the outback, laminations peeling away to reveal the metal underneath, multiple strikes with overlapping images, and clipped edges that give the 12-sided coin an even more unique, irregular shape. These mistakes weren't common, but when they happened, they turned ordinary circulation coins into absolute showstoppers that stand out dramatically under any light. The discovery stories coming out of this year are pure motivation for every weekend coin hunter. Picture a retiree in Brisbane sorting through a big box of old coins his father left behind from his trucking days in the late 70s and early 80s. He spots one 1978 50 cent that just doesn't look right. Those unmistakable double bars behind the emu jump out at him. After some research and professional grading, offers started coming in from private collectors that were enough to upgrade his fishing boat and still have plenty left over. Another tale from South Australia. A young woman cleaning her nan's house found a small leather purse stuffed with change from the 70s. Inside was a 1978 with a massive 30% off-center strike combined with a clear die crack. It went to a specialist and sold quietly for a sum that helped her with her first home deposit. These aren't made-up stories. They're happening right now as more people start looking closer at inherited collections, old money boxes, and mixed lots at local auctions. The visual punch these 1978 errors deliver is incredible. That 12-sided shape makes every off-center or clipped error pop even more dramatically. The double bar variety catches the light in a way that makes it impossible to miss once you know what you're looking for, and high-grade examples still carry flashes of original mint luster that glow with that warm 70s character nearly half a century later. Collectors who get them slabbed in MS63, MS64 or better with strong eye appeal describe the feeling as addictive. The coin feels heavier with history, the details sharper, and the errors more artistic than any modern mint product could ever achieve on purpose. Right now, the Australian error coin community is absolutely alive with activity around these pieces. Groups and forums are buzzing daily with high-resolution photos, debates about die stages, and reports of fresh finds from car boot sales, op shops, and even old bank-wrapped rolls that surface from time to time. Private collector networks are moving the best examples quickly and quietly because the supply of truly premium condition pieces is drying up as more get permanently encapsulated. Buyers from overseas are joining the chase too, attracted by the unique Australian story, the bold design, and the fact that these late 70s errors represent a sweet spot where minting technology met high production volumes and created lasting rarities. This 1978 coat of arms 50 cent perfectly captures the mood of its time. Australia was maturing, pushing boundaries, and these error coins reflect that same independent spirit by refusing to be ordinary. Every single one tells its own tale of a brief moment when the minting process went off script and produced something unrepeatable. Holding one makes you feel connected to the workers at the mint, to the people who spent it decades ago, and to the growing army of modern hunters who understand that treasure isn't always buried in the ground. Sometimes it's been sitting in a kitchen drawer since the disco era. The excitement keeps building because new people are discovering this hobby every week, drawn in by the possibility of finding something special that everyone else has overlooked. Whether you're a full-time collector or just someone who likes to check the change from the servo on the way home, the 1978 is one of those coins that rewards patience, knowledge, and a keen eye like few others can. A top-grade double-bar variety combined with a major error such as a large off-center strike or dramatic die crack on this 1978 Australian 50-cent coat of arms coin can bring in up to $12,800 USD or even more in today's competitive private auctions, direct collector sales, and specialist networks when the condition and visual impact are outstanding. But hold on, The 1979 Australian 50-cent coin is the most valuable one yet, and its double bar legend is even more explosive. Next up, the 1979 Australian 50-cent coin featuring the iconic coat of arms design, a coin that most people overlook but serious collectors are constantly searching for. At first glance, this coin doesn't seem special at all. It's a design every Australian has seen countless times. The proud kangaroo and emu standing beside the national shield, representing strength and progress. It feels familiar, almost too common to be valuable. And that's exactly why so many people ignore it. But hidden behind that everyday appearance is a completely different story. One driven by condition, rarity, and tiny details that most people never even notice. Back in 1979, millions of these coins were minted and released into circulation. They were used in daily transactions, passed from hand to hand, dropped into jars, scratched, worn down, and forgotten over time. Because of that, the vast majority of these coins you'll find today are heavily circulated, they've lost their shine, their edges are soft, and the fine details are faded. And those coins? They hold very little value. But here's where things start to get exciting. Every now and then, a 1979 50-cent coin shows up in a much better condition than expected. Maybe it was stored away in a drawer, maybe it sat untouched in a collection, or maybe it simply got lucky and avoided heavy circulation. When that happens, the coin becomes something completely different. It transforms from everyday change into a collectible asset. Collectors pay extremely close attention to condition. They look at how sharp the design is, how clean the surface appears, and whether the original mint luster is still visible. If the feathers on the emu and kangaroo are still detailed and not worn flat, if the shield lines are bold and clearly defined, and if the rim is strong and not flattened, you're already looking at a coin that stands out from the rest. But condition alone isn't the only thing that matters. The real magic happens when rare characteristics come into play. Some of these coins may have minor minting imperfections, things like die cracks, slight misalignments, or unusual surface textures. To the average person, these might look like flaws. But to collectors, they can actually increase the value significantly. These small differences make a coin unique. And in the world of collecting, uniqueness drives demand. Now imagine finding one of these coins with both strong condition and interesting mint features. That's when collectors really start paying attention. Auctions can become competitive, private buyers step in, and suddenly a coin that once sat unnoticed becomes highly desirable. Another important factor is how rare it is to find this coin in higher grades today. Because so many were used in everyday life, untouched or near-perfect examples are becoming harder and harder to find. And whenever supply goes down while demand continues to rise, prices naturally follow. That's exactly what's happening with this coin right now. Many Australians unknowingly spend or ignore these coins without giving them a second thought. They sit in coin jars, old wallets, or even get mixed into bulk change at shops. And the truth is, most people never check closely enough to realize what they might have. That's why this coin continues to slip under the radar, and that's also why the people who do recognize its value are the ones making the real money. So the next time you come across a 1979 Australian 50-cent coin, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look. Check the details. Look at the shine, the edges, the design clarity. Because that small moment of attention could make a massive difference. And when it comes to value, this is where things get truly unbelievable. Depending on condition, surface quality, and those rare standout features, this coin can range from around $7,300 all the way up to an incredible $60,000 in the high-end collector market. And trust me, if you think that's impressive, the next coin we're about to reveal is even more valuable, and it might completely change the way you look at your spare change forever. Next up, you might want to check your spare change a little more carefully after this, because the 1980 Australian 50-cent coin with the coat of arms design is one of those pieces that quietly slips through people's hands every single day. Yet in the right condition, it can turn into something far more valuable than anyone expects. Now here's the thing. Most people see this coin and instantly think it's just another common 50-cent piece. The familiar coat of arms, the kangaroo and emu standing beside the shield, it feels standard, almost too ordinary to matter. But that's exactly where people make the biggest mistake. Because in the world of coin collecting, common doesn't always mean worthless. In fact, sometimes the most overlooked coins are the ones that surprise you the most. The 1980 issue was struck for circulation, and like many coins of its time, it didn't receive special attention when it was released. It went straight into everyday use: shopping, change, pockets, tills, and over the years, most of these coins picked up heavy wear. Scratches, dull surfaces, faded details, that's what you'll usually find today. And coins in that kind of condition? They don't attract serious money. But every now and then, something different shows up. A 1980 50-cent coin that somehow avoided the rough life of circulation. Maybe it was stored away in a collection, maybe it sat untouched in a jar for decades, or maybe it was simply never used much at all. When you come across one of these better-preserved examples, the difference is instantly noticeable. The shine is stronger, the details are sharper, and the entire coin just looks alive. Collectors notice these things immediately. They'll look closely at the coat of arms, checking if the shield lines are still crisp, if the stars and patterns inside the design are clearly visible. They'll examine the kangaroo and emu, focusing on the feather and fur details, making sure they haven't been worn smooth. Even the rim of the coin matters. A strong, well-defined edge can make a big difference in how the coin is graded. And then comes the deeper inspection, the part most people completely miss. Tiny imperfections that occurred during minting can actually push the value higher. Slight die cracks, unusual textures, or subtle striking variations can turn a normal-looking coin into something collectors actively hunt for. These aren't obvious errors. You have to really look for them. But once spotted, they can change everything about the coin's value. Another factor that's quietly increasing the importance of this coin is time itself. As years pass, more and more of these coins get damaged, lost, or simply worn down beyond recognition. That means the number of high-quality examples keeps shrinking. And when supply drops while collector interest keeps growing, prices naturally start climbing. What makes the 1980 coin even more interesting is that it often gets overshadowed by other years. People chase the famous coins and completely ignore this one, which creates a hidden opportunity. Because while others are busy looking elsewhere, smart collectors are quietly picking up the best 1980 examples they can find. And that's exactly why this coin has started gaining attention. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it has all the ingredients of a sleeper collectible: strong design, real history, decreasing availability in high grades, and the potential for rare variations that most people never even notice. That combination is powerful. So before you ignore that old 50-cent coin again, take a second look. Flip it over, check the details, examine the surface. Because what looks like ordinary change could actually be something far more valuable hiding in plain sight. And when we talk about value, this is where it gets serious. Depending on condition, detail sharpness, and the presence of any rare mint characteristics, the 1980 Australian 50-cent coin can range from around $5,000 all the way up to an incredible $10,000 in high-end collector demand. And now I've got a question for you. How many times have you ignored a simple 50-cent coin without even checking it? Because after watching this, you already know one small detail could completely change its value. So before you spend your next coin, take a second look. You never know. You might be holding your next big find. If you enjoyed this video and want to discover more hidden valuable coins just like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Because the next video might reveal a coin sitting in your pocket worth even more. Subscribe, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.